In this video, I will be going over one theory of how emotions influence memory. At the very beginning of this unit, when I asked you to recall a vivid memory and develop your own model of memory, you all chose what is referred to as an autobiographical memory. Autobiographical memories are a memory system consisting of episodes recollected from an individual's life, which are based on a combination of episodic and semantic memory. We can now understand that the long-term memory has different systems and is definitely not unitary in nature. Episodic memory is memory of personal experiences, and semantic memory is your general knowledge and facts about the world. In the examples that you gave and the models that you devised, there was a common element of emotional relevance, and for a lot of you, there was something that you learned out of that experience that you had. The models that you developed had elements that are required to create a specific type of memory, which is what we refer to as flashbulb memory and is what the focus of this video will be. Flashbulb memories are a type of autobiographical memory, which are highly detailed, exceptionally vivid snapshots of the moment when a surprising and emotionally arousing event happened. This theory or this type of memory was first coined by Brown and Kulik in 1977. They postulated or suggested the specific mechanism hypothesis, which is a hypothesis that argues for the existence of a specific biological memory mechanism that, when triggered by an event exceeding critical levels of surprise, creates a permanent record of the details and circumstances surrounding that experience. This implies that flashbulb memories have different characteristics than ordinary memories. They also argued that the memories are resistant to forgetting. So these memories are different from other memories. They're highly emotional and they are resistant to change and are often also kept in our long-term memory for longer. Okay, this contradicts the idea that memory is unreliable or unreliable to a large extent, and it actually gives the counter argument suggesting that memory can be highly reliable and vivid. Okay, today the most commonly accepted model of flashbulb memory is called the importance-driven model. This model emphasizes the personal consequences that determine the intensity of emotional reactions. And there are specific factors or criteria that need to be met for a flashbulb to be created, or flashbulb memory to be created and maintained. First, the event needs to be of importance and distinctiveness. Importance meaning it has great significance, and distinctiveness meaning it's different from your normal day-to-day life experiences. If you were in a war-struck region, a bombing might not be a distinct event because you've been exposed to constant bombing. Okay? But if you were in a region where bombing is rarely a concern or even discussed, it would definitely be a surprise and shock to you if a bombing occurred. Okay? So it has to be important, it has to be distinct, which is it has to be different from your day-to-day experiences in that area or in your life. Okay? Which then leads me to the second factor required to develop a flashbulb memory, which is the consequentiality and element of surprise. The element of surprise comes when the event is something that is uncommon and unexpected, and consequentiality is referring to the impact the memory, or the event rather, has on you or this society that you belong to. Were there people that were injured? Did people die? Did the economy get affected by the event? Again, these are very extreme consequences, and consequences can be relative to people and society. So it doesn't have to be people dying or people getting injured. It could be personally consequential. Did you lose a friend? Did you get a really high grade? Did you fail a grade? All of these can be consequential and have an impact on your life. Okay, and if these first two factors are met, we can go on to the final factor, which also has relevance in deciding whether we create a flashbulb memory or not. Finally, being in close proximity to the event and your personal involvement is required for the flashbulb memory to be formed. On 11 September 2001, probably a lot of you were not born at that time, there was an attack on the World Trade Center in New York. The towers rather, collapsed, 3,000 people died, and 6,000 others were injured. In the video that you're going to watch in the next slide, the researchers found that people who were closer to the World Trade Center at that time had more accurate memories than those who were downtown in New York, okay? Even though this event was distinct for them, probably did have consequences. I'm referring to the people who are not directly in the area of the World Trade Center. They were not close enough and probably did not have to run or evacuate the building to save their lives, which then definitely reduces their personal involvement in that event. Okay, so if they were not really close and if they did not have any personal involvement, such as running away to save their lives or to save someone else's lives, or maybe being a firefighter, okay, during that time, then this last criteria would then not be met and could also reduce the accuracy of your flashbulb memory. Okay, and if all three of these criteria are met, you are bound to experience or remember or create a memory that is highly vivid and resistant to change that lasts for a really long time. We know that memory, and the same applies to flashbulb memories, can be lost, okay? And the only way to maintain them is by rehearsing them and making meaning out of it, right? So the same way flashbulb memories need to be rehearsed in order to be maintained. Even though they're really vivid and have a lot of consequence around it and importance around it, over time one could forget even a flashbulb memory if it wasn't rehearsed. Okay, and the two ways that rehearsal can occur with flashbulb memories and any kind of memory that is through overt and covert rehearsal. Overt rehearsal is basically rehearsing it outwardly, okay? This could be through discussions or, sharing your experience with others, hearing news about it, hearing others talk about it. So this is all overt and it's outwardly rehearsal, okay? Covert is more rehearsal that happens within you, in your own mind. Okay, this could be private rehearsal, you trying to process what happened, you recalling what happened, what was happening, and what you were doing at that time, the emotions that you were experiencing. These are all covert rehearsals that needs to happen for you to maintain that memory. Another example of overt rehearsal could be if you went to therapy and you constantly brought this memory back out. And we're discussing it with your counselor or therapist. So that would be another example of overt rehearsal. So all of these 5 different factors need to be met. First, these 3 need to be met for the memory to even be formed. And over time, you need to be involved in overt and covert rehearsal for it to be maintained. And again, while this model or theory suggests that it is resistant to change, I feel like a major drawback is that, yes, while rehearsing, you are exposed to people with different perspectives, or you have changing ideas over time, and this could then make the memory change or alter according to your developments, right? And we know that, for example, psychotherapy or suggestibility and leading questions can even change memory. So while it does suggest that memories can be vivid and reliable, there are still factors and loopholes that can affect it. So in the next video, you will be watching a researcher talk about the 9/11 and her findings about the vividness and the accuracy of memory in the participants that she interviewed.